Good morning. It's me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energies inside of ourselves, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see this reflected back to us in our interactions with the people in our lives, in our external environment, in our ability to manifest the things that we desire. And if we want to see shifts and changes around us, we have to make shifts and changes inside of ourselves. And we can look at the two sides of self and balancing those things in order to do that. So thank you for joining me this morning. I think I think we'll start with divine masculine today. There's normally I let the cards tell me which because one shows more than the other, but they actually all both of them showed the top 3 cards, kept the bottom cards hidden from me. So I'm just going with divine masculine today. Top of the deck, overall forefront of divine masculine headspace is the 7 of swords in reverse, and we're using what's the name of this tarot? The Small Spells Tarot. And the 7 of swords in this deck is really interesting because we're seeing these hands manipulating this arrow and kind of, it looks like maybe mesmerizing that snake a little bit. And there's all these arrows underneath here. And there's this feeling of trying to, like, you know, draw attention away from what's really being like stolen or something like that. There's some kind of a illusion that's happening. This is a card about sneaking, being clever, telling lies, wearing a mask. It can also be about strategizing and planning, um, and about getting away with things. And the snake energy, often in tarot or in the Lenormand, if you're using Lenormand references, it's it's often some like a snake like energy coming from another person, so something that's deceptive. So there could even be someone else who's created a lot of deception and manipulated the situation. So those are the common associations with it. And for this masculine energy today, I'm definitely feeling this feeling of like, I can't get away with it. He can't keep hidden. He can't, it's like he can't keep his thoughts hidden anymore. It's like written plainly on his face. Um, there could be people like asking him, like, are you okay? What's wrong with you? It's starting to affect his demeanor. And so the mask that he's always been so capable of wearing is coming off. One of the reasons he's capable of wearing that is because he had this control over his emotions, that it was really unhealthy because it was a repressive control, and it was a training that was received from um, people he learned from in his environment, his caregivers, a belief system. But there's this rigidity about emotion, as if it were um, not ideal. Emotion equals like chaos, and it's he's had to unlearn this and understand that emotion is simply guidance. It doesn't represent chaos, and not emotion creates chaos. And trying to your heart with your head or manipulate a situation is that repressive energy that he was trained in. So that's he's thinking a lot about the consequences of his behaviors in regards to that deception, wanting to unmask the fact that he can't keep things hidden anymore. The niggling thing in the back of the mind is the High Priestess in reverse. This deck has very interesting and unusual imagery. The spider here, about the spider's web, patience, this hand, something about having to like manipulate time, um, or being manipulated by time, I think maybe. So a sense that like the situation, the scenarios that have unfolded from this Seven of Swords energy, it's really about um, issues with divine timing, like thinking that things are going to go a certain way, but not feeling into actually how to proceed. So really not trusting yourself. So you're not trusting the inspiration you're getting or the messages that you're receiving, and you're just like wanting to take it into your own hands. Um, and this is also can be about being afraid of the divine feminine energy when she's in her high priestess energy, being afraid of her seeing through this other feeling of like, I can't hide it. I can't hide anything from her. Um, her being able to see this uh, from a psychic connection. When I was shuffling the one of the decks for the oracles, I went to pick up the deck. I do this thing where I'm a glutton for punishment. I precariously stack my cards, like you know, like this, because I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, usually 7 decks, and I don't have a lot of room, so I'll stack them like that, and then as I shuffle them, I'll stack them again, like next to it, and I do it on top of all of my tarot cards that are like the boxes that are lined out in a row. It's pretty stable, but it's also right on the corner of the desk. And there's been a couple of times where I've like knocked back of cards like all over behind my desk and stuff like that. So this morning I went to grab uh, a spell casting oracle, and it was slippery, and it started to slip, and I was like, no! And 3 cards fell into my cords where I have like my microphone and everything for my studio. So they didn't fall to the floor, and I was like, oh, thank God. And when I picked them up, I saw one said psychic feelings. I was laughing because I was in the middle of shuffling for a psychic reading. And so this is also maybe divine masculine might be rejecting his own psychic feelings, but I think it's really more about his fears about divine feminine's ability to see through his mask. And um, it can be also about just losing the divine feminine, a fear of losing this connection with her because of the Seven of Swords behavior that he engaged in the past and potentially even right now. The first thing on his mind is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I like that this deck does the queens and kings the way that a playing card deck does, where no matter which side you have, your queen is upright, even if the words are not. But technically, this came out in the upright position, or I'm sorry, in the reverse position. And I also like that there are 2 feminines on here, because I think what this means is there is a Queen of Pentacles that divine masculine rather associates with divine feminine energy, the one that he desires, so to speak. And there is another feminine energy that is being released. And potentially some kind of a karmic situation. And I also think it's about him going back and forth in his mind, juggling back and forth in his mind, like maybe like a comparison, or seeing how, the one in the past failed to deliver in some way to the one that he wants in the present moment. But he's really flip-flopping back and forth between these 2 energies, thinking about them. And it also could be there's a tug of war between these 2 energies. He might have stepped away from one in the past and tried to move towards the one in the future, but the one in the past might be pulling him back. Because, oh, it's funny, I didn't flip over these cards. Usually I flip over all of them, but I didn't yet. Okay. So the next thing on his mind is the world card, also in reverse. Um, I love in this deck, they put all of the aces here. So we have each one of the aces from the suits. The spider again. There's the spider again from the high priestess energy, dangling now from this world. So again, I'm thinking this must be for divine masculine. We're supposed to associate his world with divine feminine, even though we didn't see a lot of times the world is a feminine is depicted here, but we didn't see that. Instead, we're drawn to the same imagery here, knowing that some aspect of his world is divine feminine, and she's hanging here on the outside of his world, like not able to enter here. And of course, there's also sort of the energy of like the spider's web and being trapped. Um, the reversal on this card, for me, it's usually because this is the last card in the major arcana, it's the end, but it's not the end. And so I do think that that is what that back and forth energy is with that Queen of Pentacles energy, that shifting energy, pulling towards this direction, being pulling back towards this other past energy, trying to move on, but not being able to. The next thing on his mind is the King of Swords. So he's trying to be strategic, he's trying to be in command, he's trying to conquer his emotions and cut out the energy that is preventing him from moving on, because the next thing that's coming up is the Six of Swords in reverse. And the King of Swords here is also about this icy aloofness. Because there are two material iterations of a feminine energy, and because the situation is not over, is not ended, he has to be icy and aloof. That's another aspect. But he's strategizing, he's working to cut out this past energy that is preventing him from moving on. This is the Six of Swords, which is a card about transitioning from your struggle and strife from where you were to where you want to go. And there is, how do I describe this? It's interesting how they're using this imagery for this deck. And there's those butterflies, which really is the Six of Swords is about transformation, because all of the struggles that you went through are transforming you into this version of yourself that is able to achieve your desire. Excuse me. Keep in mind that this third party energy might also be like just the material world itself, work, because this is abundance. The shadow of the Queen of Pentacles in reverse is like being overprotective, being overbearing. So there is an element here that he could also be juggling his work or juggling his own shadow traits of being too protective, something like that. The Six of Swords is about learning your lessons, and it's also, when it's in its reverse position, it can be about being uncertain of the future. I think I was called to say that he's trying to cut out this energy that's preventing him from moving on, which is why the reversal was present. But it can also be about being afraid of the future, being uncertain because you don't know where you're going after you've changed so dramatically. And then we're getting the Eight of Pentacles. And look at that hand gesture is back again. Divine feminine works in the realm of the spirit. Divine masculine right now is working in the realm of the material, which is why he's not fully in this connection with the divine feminine. This is something he's working on he's working on ending the situation with the manipulative feminine energy that is blocking this transition for him. This energy comes from a deep wound. It's manifesting outside of himself, but it really comes from a deep wound, probably from mothering or lack thereof in some cases. But there's a wound here, and he's working on it. He is working in the material as well, and it's possible that we're seeing, if that Queen of Pentacles is a third party that is not some kind of a partner, a past partner, then it could be career and how he's being manipulated by the constraints of his career. And the final card is the Four of Wands in reverse, and that is what is clarifying the King of Swords. So there's a few different potential meanings here. This king could be strategizing and trying to figure out exactly how to manifest this sacred union in this Four of Wands, which if you see up right here is just like this hand with rings and these four cards with fours on them, creating this stable foundation that will build your house of cards, which is also not that stable. So it could be about divine masculine trying to strategize how to bring about this union that he desires, but with its reversal and with the situation that we're looking at, with this feminine energy that is potentially manipulative, who's trying to prevent the situation or just it's having a difficult time moving on, honestly. I think there's just a feminine energy that is just really having a hard time moving on. And I think requires compassion, because isn't it hard for you to move on? So, she's just in that energy. And the divine masculine is just trying to figure out with his mind exactly how to change the situation to release potentially a past marriage, because that Four of Wands card can be about marriage. It can also be about just cutting out anything, career, third party energy of any kind, that is blocking his ability to come into union and celebrate. Okay. Methinks this is going to be quite a long reading. Okay. Top of the deck, overall forefront of his mind, of the heart space, is the Princess of Wands, from the True Heart Intuitive Tarot by Rachel True. And this is Page of Wands energy. So this is burgeoning sexual energy, excitement, inspiration, new ideas. And it's like the start of something. His heart is feeling this spark. It's a feeling energy. There's a feminine, obviously. So this is feeling energy. And I think it's like the beginnings of his, like, starting to open the heart space to allowing the feminine energy to really, really integrate. The niggling feeling in the heart space is the Prince of Wands in reverse, or the Knight of Wands energy. So there's something here about wanting to maintain the innocence that happens when you have like that first spark of love, and not have that be corrupted by Knight of Wands shadow energy. Because the Knight of Wands upright is like, this is Phoenix energy rising from the ashes, right? And this is about passion, and it's about spontaneity and throwing caution to the wind and just going for it. But it also, when it's in its shadow, contains inconsistent sexual energy, player energy. Seven of Wands in reverse and the Knight of Wands in reverse go together. And divine masculine's feeling is He's wanting to maintain this purity of that burgeoning sexual energy, that chemistry. We're looking at sexual energy as the energy of union. Yes, physical connection, but the thing that's drawing you together, the sexual feelings of attraction, that chemical aspects to it, etc. So he wants to maintain this purity. And honestly, there's an excitement here because while he's struggling in his headspace to figure out, which is probably why it's taking so long, he should probably stop trying to figure it out and just let the divine guide him instead of resisting this intuition from the divine. Just keeps trying to figure out himself. No, it's like second guessing himself a lot. So even though his headspace is like going, the heart space just wants to have that innocent connection with the divine feminine. First thing on his mind, I'm sorry, in the heart space, I keep doing that, but clarifying the first thing on his mind is the Princess of Cups in reverse. So, just talked about the innocence here that wants to be maintained in terms of like the spark. This he also wants, I think he really wants divine feminine to maintain her feelings for him. Despite the situation that he has put the union in, he wants divine feminine to maintain this spark for him and not lose that spark for him, even though he's been in this energy. And then he wants to release this emotional immaturity. We already talked about he didn't learn to manage emotions correctly because he was taught that those emotions were problematic, caused chaos, needed to be controlled, were a sign of weakness. Um, any aspect of the feminine, honestly, utterly rejected. And it came from a distortion. I feel like there was the belief system that was either perpetuated in the household or something he came to later in life, or it doesn't really matter at what point, but some point there was a really misogynistic, and I mean pick a religion, honestly, and very repressive type of a belief system. And so he feels this emotional immaturity because he was literally trained not to process emotions or feel emotions. He was trained to numb them. Like once you don't feel them anymore, then you're okay. But that's not how it works. It's like you have to feel them and process them to be okay. And so he's learning that right now. This is a victory for him. This is the Six of Wands. It is clarifying this world in reverse. And this is also this feeling of his heart space, which he's having a hard time trusting that there will be victory, that he will end these cycles that have been in place that have kept him from being able to enjoy that Four of Wands celebration and union that he's desiring. So he is definitely going to be victorious. I do see in this card this magpie here who's guarding the spoils of war from these crows that are trying to come and steal what has been won. And through a difficult battle, because this comes after the Five of Wands, which is competition, and it's very difficult. There's a lot of stuck energy there. And Divine Masculine is guarding his spoils of war from these like just from anything that could like ravage it or take it away. Then we're getting the right, which is clarifying the King of Swords. He is thinking about how to convey what he is thinking in communication. This is literally him trying to communicate about potentially the reasons for not being able to move on, or potentially just finally communicating that he is wanting to move into another relationship. Because remember, he's not communicating with divine feminine, right? So he's not communicating with feminine, period. So any feminines in his life, whether they're past feminines or current or, the divine feminine, they don't know what the fuck is going on because he's not telling them. The King of Swords doesn't tell you what's going on. He's thinking about it. And this image from this deck is so profound to me because we're looking at what his ass is thinking about. And he's thinking about how to send these messages and communicate everything he's been thinking about. So he's just thinking about communicating what he's thinking, about communicating what he's thinking. But what is he thinking? Or what is he feeling, rather? Here's the Ace of Cups. This is clarifying the Six of Swords in reverse. This is the heart space, knowing, feeling, inner knowing, knowing in the heart, which is different than knowing in the head space. Knowing that he must take care of himself. Despite his uncertainty about where he's going, he must take care of his own cup and no longer be people pleasing or, trying to get his cup filled from others. He's really embraced that he has to fill his own cup and he has to take care of himself and he has to love himself, which requires making decisions. There's the Eight of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles. This is two individuals. They look like twins with a strong feeling of Gemini energy. And they are walking, they're balancing on a tightrope whilst juggling back and forth energy. Now, some are going to read this as he's juggling two partners. I don't feel that. I don't. I feel that this is the two sides of self balancing out. And I think that this is about the back and forth communication between the two and how difficult it is to balance on this tightrope and maintain. You have to maintain complete eye contact and connection to be able to successfully do this without falling to your death. This is what he's been working on. He has been working on how to communicate the love that he has without this emotional immaturity fucking up his ability to share these spoils of war with who he chooses to do that with. This is what he's been working on. And he has had to juggle. And what is clarifying this Four of Wands in reverse is this Three of Cups energy. And again, I can totally see this interpretation where he's saying he's juggling third-party energy, but because of all the other placements of the cards, I don't feel that. And because the Seven of Swords and the Prince of Wands and the Page of Cups are all in reverse, that energy is being left behind. He's not engaging in that anymore. So when we're seeing the Three of Cups energy right now, it's about the union of the masculine and feminine that have been hidden up until this point. So cutting out this old energy so that he can come into this new union, because threes are about union. Okay. Divine feminine energy. Let's take a look at you, girl. Wow. Wow. Your spread is so good. I just want to give you props, babes. All right. Top of the deck, overall headspace for divine feminine energy. Ace of Cups. We have a match. I'm so excited. Union on the best card to have union for. This is loving the self, taking care of the self, honoring the self, having your cup filled up from the divine so that you can share with someone else. Great. You can only come into union if these two cards are together and upright. So, cool. Divine Feminine is loving herself. She's choosing herself. She's filling her cup up. In this card, we see she's in the process of it because this card has the spillover. And we see that this card is filled here, but it's not quite spilling over yet. But she's focused on this. She's like, you know what? I haven't been loving myself. I've been giving away a lot of myself. And I was doing that in the hopes I would get it back. But there was like a certain amount of desperation there that didn't really speak to who I am and who and the love that I deserve, right? So we see her really feeling how important it is that she loves herself. The niggling thing in the back of her mind is someone else. It's the lovers. But it's not just the opposing counterpart energy, it's the union. So, what is in the back of her mind is this is only possible if this is happening all the time, not just sometimes, but all the time. Not perfectly, because that is an illusion, but it needs to be consistent, right? It needs to be something that is like built in, habitual. And this stuff, pouring it all out into someone else's cup, has got to end. She really understands that. That's very obvious to her now. She's not even annoyed anymore when she hears like you have to love yourself first. Like that used to make her really annoyed because she didn't want to do it. She didn't think she was lovable. She's like, listen, someone outside of me, they can love me. If I look good, if I act good, if I'm good at things I do, then all of these other people are going to love me and I'm going to feel love all day. Okay? But I know all those people love me because I look and act this way. I'm funny, I'm vibrant, I'm sweet, I'm kind, I'm generous. And you know what? Divine Feminine is those things. But I have to be those things perfectly all the time so that people will love me because if they really knew some of the dark shit that is inside of me, that has happened to me, that I think about, that I'm ashamed of, they wouldn't love me. And that's why I can't love myself, because of all this dark shit. But Divine Feminine has finally come to a point where she realizes that other people loving her didn't ever help with the dark shit. What helped with that was turning to the divine and finding out what this contrast meant for her, how it was meant to change her. That's what mattered. Beautiful. All right. First thing on Divine Feminine's mind. Oh, it's fine. It's just another card of union. Don't worry about it. It's a Two of Pentacles. And just like in this imagery, which I chose randomly today, because I have a lot of decks and I just, whatever I'm feeling, whatever imagery I want to put together. Incidentally, if you want to send me more so I can do that and have even more strange and synchronistic experiences, click the link below. That's where you can find my website, pearlsprayers.com. There's a link there to send me a deck if you want to send me a deck as to support me. By all means, because I do love decks. But today we have the first one, which really shows us those two sides of self, the twins, balancing this energy. the back and forth, the communication. It is about making a decision. In Divine Masculine's case, he was deciding that he wants to have this union with Divine Feminine. For Divine Feminine, we get no individuals on the card. We just get the lemniscate, the eternal aspects of union. This is the figure 8, is the lemniscate. And inside here we have these 2 pentacles that are being balanced out here. Divine Feminine is doing the exact same work as Divine Masculine, balancing those 2 aspects of self and making a decision to choose another card that Divine Masculine had in his headspace. The Queen of Pentacles. There's so much union here. Divine Feminine is feeling in her energy the Queen of Pentacles, abundant, creative. She has the throne beneath her, this solid throne. She has something precious that she's hanging on to. And it's here, right? Reflected here. So it's like she's taken these 2 parts of self and she's chosen to focus on herself and really her creation, the things she wants to bring in the world. This is also mothering energy. So she could be in her nurturer energy right now, which is definitely relevant for me because my amazing, tall, handsome 15-year-old son is finally living with me. And then, like, my little sister, when she was 2 years old, and she would always tell stories, and she would go, and then my whole family would always do that. Like, be having, like, completely adult conversations. Say, like, yeah, yesterday I was at the bank. This woman, do you know so-and-so? Yeah, she came over to me, and then she said this. And then we would continue talking like an adult. I don't know, we're weird. So, and Dan, she is in this 9 of Cups energy. This is complete wish fulfillment. How ironic to find your wishes filled by yourself when all this time you thought you needed like a genie. You needed this wishes to be filled by someone else, but she's really providing her own fulfillment right now. When we get the 9 of Cups, we know that you're going to get whatever wish you have, whether it's upright or in reverse. And we're kind of looking at her wishing for this fulfillment, this relationship or physical union or a manifestation of something she's trying to call in. So she's going to get what she wants because she's choosing herself. Because this 2 of Pentacles is being clarified by no shit, Temperance, upright, which is also about balancing out energy. And I love the abstraction here because Divine Feminine is really feeling like there's a lot about energy here. It's not about, she's really not taking shit personally. She's really not. She's understanding this is energetic. There's literally a formula for this that I don't know because I didn't make this shit up that I can remember. But she's really patiently balancing, doing that work that she needs to do in order to come into this cycle's completion. The 10 of Wands. Now, she's also feeling burdened with responsibility. As the Queen of Pentacles, she's got a lot of shit to manage. And she is ready to put this down and to share this load with someone. That's definitely true. That balancing energy is bringing her to this wish fulfillment. Now, clearly, her wishes, her burden to be lightened, her responsibilities to be lightened and shared through some kind of a communication to give her this reciprocity. The 6 of Pentacles, upright, clarifying her wish fulfillment. She wants to see that she is getting as much as she is putting into anything in her life. So if she's working for a company, bitch, that company better pay her, okay? If she's giving someone time, she has an expectation there that that person will acknowledge and reciprocate that time. Words, energy, whatever. If she's giving it, she's also able to receive it. She's also being better about not trying to control others by overgiving and then expecting them to do the same. She's being more economical with her energy. She's like, you know what? If I've written to you 1,000 words to which you have responded with 0, then I'm going to retract my 1,000 words. And when you can match my 10 words, then we're really onto something. She's like, I now know that I'm not going to just keep giving and giving and giving and expecting it to come back to me and then being disappointed when it doesn't. I am going to give and then wait patiently, balancing my own energy. If I don't see a return, I'm good. I didn't need it to fill me up anyway. But I'm not going to keep giving to someone that is not returning anything of value to me, which is pretty fucking badass. All right, top of the deck for the heart space, killing it, divine feminine. The 5 of Pentacles, which came up yesterday, my reading with Grace Drago, which had a shit ton of synchronicities in it. If you've never seen those readings before, on Sundays, sometime in the afternoon, Grace Drago and I go live. We always announce it before, so you can see what time we're going live, probably in the morning. But we go live together. We do a collaborative reading. One takes the masculine side, one takes the feminine side. We compare, and then we open it up for questions. And yesterday, the 5 of Pentacles came up for the divine feminine, and today it is in reverse in her heart space because she doesn't feel any lack. She doesn't feel any lack at all. Her cup is filled. She is the queen. This is this Queen of Pentacles. She's not in a lack mentality. We're using the Muse tarot here. There's that hand again. It's opened up almost as if now she's able to envision herself being able to give when before she felt so much lack. And that is passed away. The niggling feeling in her heart space is the Ace of Inspiration or the Ace of Wands in reverse. And we didn't get the normal imagery associated with this card, but it is the card that's associated with like being a dick. And the reversal on it is like releasing the aspects of herself that have been miserly, the withholding energy, no longer withholding. It's also, I think, about a fear that she might not get exactly what she desires, which we see here is this Lover's energy. And it's possible too that she's questioning whether or not her desire is totally wholesome. If it's serving her, if it's more about her ego, or if it's more about sexual energy. And it can also mean that she is, she's afraid to receive what she desires. But it also could be that this is something that she has desired for a really, really long time. Like it's not a new desire. It's just something that has been inside of her for so long. Wow. And to emphasize that, here's the 6 of Cups, which is a past energy. This is the energy of reunion. And in this Muse tarot, we're seeing a divine feminine holding up a mirror. And the mirror is showing us that there is a path ahead of her. And there's like a little image of, we're assuming this divine feminine as a child. So there's like an inner child and who's playing. And then there's also another feminine energy that's like sitting on the beach in a bikini kind of over here off to the side. So I haven't really looked at it before, so I wanted to look at it very closely. So here's the bikini clad divine feminine, very small here, the inner child. And this mirror showing us the path ahead. So the Six of Cups being about reflecting upon the past or about reuniting with someone from your past. It's also about innocence. I feel like this is about lost innocence for divine feminine. Um, her acknowledgement that she has had to balance out the connection, this eternal connection with this past energy, and kind of make some discernment about at what point her innocence was lost in her youth and how that like affected her, how it kept her in this back and forth energy, um, where she's juggling her desires, her head and her heart. um, but she's seeing that this past relationship has been a path to like her fulfillment. This Queen of Pentacles is being clarified by awakening or judgment in reverse. And so we're seeing divine feminine having a hard time awakening to her thoughts of herself in this energy. She's thinking about herself as this Queen of Pentacles, but the heart space is still afraid. It's not quite awakened fully to this energy quite yet. There's also some criticism here. This is about the awakening process. There could be some judgment she has for her choosing this material fulfillment for herself right now. Like she might be to come after the Six of Cups also. Definitely this could be about the reconciliation um, that needs to take place with the masculine energy. And so she could just be thinking about it's like she knows her worthiness and she's sort of trying to decide that Two of Pentacles. She's trying to decide if this past energy comes forward to her. Is it like, should she actually give forgiveness here? Because this energy failed to see her worthiness. And so she's thinking about her worthiness and then wondering if she's going to be able to forgive for how divine masculine honestly really did not value her. And this is masculine energy in general, not just a specific iteration, although that iteration will reflect it back to her, but just how she's not valued in general, how difficult it will be. Is 8:44 and 8:48 on the clock. This Nine of Cups, it's being clarified by this 10 of Wands upright, which we already saw. There's so much union in this spread. Holy moly. So divine feminine in this image, she's carrying this jug. It looks like she's in some kind of a desert setting. And there's actually a bunch of cattle with the same jugs on their backs. And she actually doesn't look that burdened. It's like she's learned to delegate, but she has still a lot to be responsible for. This is also a card about communication. And if we're looking at this as sort of like feelings, it's like also just clad in this black, like this protective energy. There's something about that. Protecting herself from communication. But look, we have all these 9 cups here. And then technically we have these 9 cups right here. And then her own cup there. Very interesting. But she's really wanting to experience communication. Again, she's wanting to share that load. Her desire, her wish fulfillment is to, be able to like share the responsibility of this connection or of this manifestation. There he is, the Knight of Wands. There he is over here. In reverse again. So that's union again. And it's clarifying this temperance energy. So divine feminine, she has had to cool her jets. Look at that, literally. The cooling energy of this heat that is coming from this car. This barreling ahead, trying to make the situation work out for you, being too emotional, being too sexual, your sexual desire controlling you, really inconsistent, inefficient. This is the energy that has needed to be tempered. And if you have this energy inside of yourself, as we know you do, we saw it in your heart space, then it's reflected back to you from outside iterations. So you're getting a bunch of bullshit. Love that. The 10 of Wands is being, wow, oh my God, all these freaking cards. It's being clarified by the Page of Wands in reverse, which we saw Divine Masculine in his heart space upright. Now in Divine Feminine's heart space, it's in reverse because she wants to put down the burden of having to initiate communication. She is done like a house of initiating communication. This is Divine Masculine wanting her to maintain this spark for him and communication, these small communications, small gestures and stuff that she's been doing. He wants her to keep doing that because he feels like it helps him or whatever. Yeah, she's not interested in that role anymore. She's dropping that. She's like, nah, I'm Gucci, bro. This, not my job. I let you know exactly how I feel. I communicated with you my wishes and what I desired, which is communication. And it is not my job to stroke your ego while you build up your confidence to come forward and communicate to me. Nope, not my job. I have confidence. I communicated directly. I did my part. And honestly, if I do anything else other than that, it's going to turn you off. Like, you think you need me to make gestures, but really those gestures are desperate because it's me trying to control energy, trying to force my desires. And I'm not interested in that because the only reason I would ever try to force my desires, force this Ace of Wands, is because I felt like there wasn't anything really there. I felt like I didn't have enough worthiness. But that's not true anymore. So I will not initiate contact with you anymore. I'm not going to be immature about this energy. You can have it. You can have the immaturity. Go ahead, take it, run with it. Because this Six of Pentacles is my 10 of Pentacles. Reciprocation is my material manifestation that I desire at this point. This is the only thing that will allow growth into this beautiful material fulfillment that I desire. So, if I'm not getting communication, I'm not going to be initiating it because this is the only thing that I want. I don't want, look, there's no house on here. There's no car. There's nothing. There's nature that's being allowed to grow and bloom and expand into this, love. And there's human connection, family, community. That's what I want. I don't care about the other stuff. I don't care about it. Awesome, Divine Feminine. Okay, so I want to do something a little different. I took out one oracle deck for today, and instead of the spirit animal, which I sometimes read from, I'm gonna start the oracle part of the reading by looking at the with a tarot deck, the sexual energy. We've done this before, but I want to clarify that as the energy of physical union, or the creative kundalini energy that inspires physical manifestation. So that's what we're looking at. We're going to use the Prisma Visions deck for the Divine Masculine, and we're going to use the Sluttist Tarot for the Divine Feminine. All right. So I asked the cards, how does Divine Masculine feel? What is Divine Masculine's thoughts and feelings regarding physical union, sexual union, creative union? We got the Emperor upright, which is a pretty strong message of stability, having a foundation for this, having a lot of desire, because this is Aries energy, and girl, they like to go at it. So having a very strong urge for this physical union, and being a bit bullheaded about it, kind of like really just continuing to persist. And if there's any shadow associated with it, it can be trying to control the physical manifestation, and maybe being a bit stubborn about how it manifests. But it is accompanied, so I pull the top, or I pull a card, and then I pulled the bottom of the deck as the explanation, or just a further information. We're seeing the Ace of Swords. So, wow. New ideas about physical union, looking towards the future, clarity about what he desires, how he wants to do that, how he wants to do what he wants to do to like initiate that physical union, like. And also it's just in general about clarity, willingness to look at the self, and see the self as ready, honestly, for physical union, as finally prepared. And this isn't because of a material foundation either. It's because of a feeling of stability in the masculine energy. So this is a good, this is going to be fun, sexy times for whoever gets on that D. Sorry to say. Okay, Divine Feminine, let's look at your sluttist energy. Yes, sluttist energy, yes, sexual energy rather, from the Sluttist Tarot, which is a gift from Cheryl. Love you, babes. All right, 9 of Swords is the first. So 2 cards popped for you. The first one is 9 of Swords, and it was accompanied by the 8 of Swords in reverse. So interesting. This 9 of Swords energy is intense. It looks like there was a little kinky knife throwing going on, and it didn't go well, or something. And it looks like Divine Feminine was the one doing the knife throwing. She just threw them right inside of herself, which is really weird. But honestly, relatable. So Divine Feminine's, I would say, quite afraid of the physical union. She's afraid of getting hurt, of getting wounded, over and over and over again. And she's afraid that she's maybe doing that to herself when she's coming into this physical union. Now, Divine Masculine's like ready to go and feeling good, and Divine Feminine looks afraid. But this came, and this card is about holding ourselves back and ourselves from that process. It's about imprisoning ourselves, the 8 of Swords, imprisoning ourselves very loosely, and then feeling like we're trapped in prison, but really it's our own prison. So Divine Feminine is afraid, but she's not going to let herself, she's not going to hold herself back from the physical union. She's not going to protect herself from it anymore because she knows that these are just thoughts and that this is all about illusion. And she's not going to stay blind to the fact that this fear of intimacy is really what has kept her from coming into union. And then we're getting the Eight of Cups. Cool your jets, everyone. This is a pretty great card. Oh, I'm sorry, the Two of Cups. Why did I say the Eight of Cups? The Two of Cups. It is in reverse. So she wants it, but she is afraid that it might not be coming. She is also afraid, I think, that while she's waiting in this with this to heal these wounds, because you can't just have a fear of intimacy, decide not to sabotage yourself, and then not deal with the wounds that you got while you were, that caused you to have the fear of intimacy. I think there is a concern on her part that her physical desire for just in general will be difficult for her to manage. Not that she's going to have to engage in other relationships, but that she desires intimacy so much. And she fears that while she's healing these wounds that have happened, remember, this is the masculine energy is having to heal these wounds too. It's not just this is a whole person. So if there's a masculine counterpart that you're thinking about, that masculine counterpart he has this fear of intimacy, his feminine inside of self, and he must heal those wounds. He's willing to try. He's willing to come into union, but he understands that these wounds must be healed in order for it to be fully realized. In order that they're not wounding one another in this process. I do think Divine Feminine is afraid of how long this might take, and her desires for union and intimacy just are so strong and really, really difficult for her to manage. So Divine Masculine's ready to go, but the feminine side of self is still afraid of the time to heal, the process of healing, that she's going to miss out on an opportunity because she's going to keep herself from coming into any kind of physical union. Okay, let's do the oracle cards. Divine Masculine, you are in the light attributes of the guide right now. That hermit energy, but you're in the light of it. So you've been doing that soul searching. Wisdom. And this says it represents the nature of the divine and in yourself. And so you really are embodying the divine energy within. And we know that because your Ace of Cups was here and filled and overflowing. And you are being guided as you go within and soul search. You are being guided where you need to go. You just have to stop resisting this in your headspace, because your headspace is often resisting this guidance, even though you are really, really in tune right now. You are in the shadow attributes of this networker energy. And there's those messages that you are not sending or potentially not receiving. And the shadow attributes of this card are about conveying information only for personal gain and spreading fear and falsehood. And we know that you were doing that. There is an element here I'm seeing. It's like you have been telling so many lies. So there's lies that you've been telling to hide third-party energy from both energies. There's lies that you've been telling in order to try to smooth over things with both energies. There's lies you've been telling to yourself. You've been spreading falsehoods about yourself to try to distract this snake-like energy that is potentially threatening to you. So you've even been spreading false information to try to throw someone off your trail. You might even throw false information to try to throw Divine Feminine off your trail so that she can't find out exactly what's going on because you don't want to hurt her. And you're actually spreading fear because when you are giving messages, first of all, lies, divine feminine can sense, right? This is why your niggling feeling is like, she knows. Yeah. So she can sense when you're telling lies, first of all, and then that doesn't look good for you. And then the other aspect is that you are saying things to her that are bringing up fear in her, and you're doing nothing to try to soothe those fears or anxieties because of your own personal safety, which is about your own personal gain. Wow. So come into the light, which enhances unity through the sharing of information and engenders social awareness and empathy. This would be a good idea for you. And send those messages. And look at this is literally the Eight of Wands again. Tell whoever it is, whether it's the past that you need to get rid of or the current that you want to bring into your life, tell them what you were thinking. You're like, how do I tell them what I'm thinking? My God. Are you fucking serious, man? How do you tell them what you're thinking? You know what you could do? You could text, you could say, hey, I'm having a hard time telling you what I'm thinking. I'm having a hard time thinking of what to say. That will initiate, that will spark a conversation. And you have got to do it because this bitch is not going to. Your guardian angel is here to support you with this energy, and there is an emphasis here, bro. Move the fuck on to the place where you want to go. Stop resisting this transformation. Please. For the love of all things holy, make a move. I am the loving energy of the universe. That is true. That is true. You are. And the only time that you are not is when you look away from the loving energy and reflect upon anything else but loving energy. Then you're not in alignment. As soon as you focus on loving energy, you are that energy. And if you are something, it's reflected back to you. And if you doubt that at all, go back to the beginning of this video and watch the reading again and write down on a piece of paper how many duplicate cards there were across. Now I'm using 6 tarot decks. Closure again, in reverse again, with your world card in reverse in the headspace before. Who, if you've watched my show before, who gives closure? You give closure to yourself. Somebody's calling me from Tennessee. I don't know them. Okay. Confidence is your key to success. It's Leo season, and this is the new moon in Leo. So this could be a timing card for some. It's not Leo season yet, but it's going to be. I'm anticipating it because it's better. It's better than Cancer season. Fuck, Cancer season wrecked me. I am ready for Leo season. Bring it on. I'm releasing my track in Leo season, right? Confidence. That bitch is going to get a Grammy. Leo season, all right? Have confidence. When you give yourself that closure, you are going to feel very confident because your fear that you can't give yourself that closure is what is making you experience your insecurity in the physical world. Surrender to the divine. release. We're heading up on the full moon. I'm the high priestess today in my coven meeting. So the full moon, it's a few days away. This could be timing energy. But do a full release. Release your control. Surrender to your emotions and let them guide you to where it is that you want to go, and don't be afraid. Then you're getting this Akasha card in reverse, and it says, your guidance is divinely guided. You're really supposed to receive that information today. You got the guide as your first card. It's trust that when I tell you to do something, it's coming from the divine. It's a message from the divine. Whatever you hear, whatever you process. You know, there's times when I watch readings and I'll be like, what the fuck? I just spaced out for like 5 minutes. And then I'll go back and I'll listen again. And then I'll be like, what the fuck? I just spaced out for like 5 minutes again. Like, what? And I'll do it again. I swear to God, I've had that happen to me sometimes 4 or 5 times where I'll be like, what the? I can't. Because that part of the message, if that happens to me, honestly, now if it happens to me 2 times, if I go back and I don't hear it, I just move on. It must be something that either I can't hear, I literally can't hear it yet. My mind is a little too young for this information. It hasn't developed fully, 1:11 on the clock. Or it's not meant for me. It's not information I need. But either one of those things is the same thing. So divine masculine is really resisting guidance. Whatever messages he's stepping away from, he needs to start surrendering to them. When I pull these, this is what you got to do today cards at the end, 1:11:55 on the clock again. God damn it. If I do that, then you need to listen to the messages and do what it says. The stagnation comes from that fear. Divine feminine, you are in the light attributes of father energy. This is talent for creating and supporting life and a positive guiding light within a tribal unit, and you are no longer in the attributes of dictatorial control or the abuse of authority. It's funny because the Emperor and the Empress came up a lot yesterday in the reading. I do when I'm the high priestess for my coven, because we alternate the role, because there's 3 of us and we take maiden, mother, crone. I'm the mother, and I do the I lead the coven around the full moon, and we each have our specialties, and we like teach the others our whatever magical things or skills we have. And so I focus mine on Empress energy, and I teach intuitive nourishment, which incidentally I also do teach on my website. There's services you can book, and there's one called Get Tuned In, and that is about intuitive nourishment on a lot of levels, not just food, but all kinds of things. And I do a 3-card spread where I find the Empress in the deck, and then I look at the card behind her and the card before her, and then I read this like about our coven. The card that's behind her is what we're bringing in to the next month. And we brought Emperor energy in, and I emphasized that we are in this stable energy of the Father. So profound to me to see that the divine feminine has truly balanced that out, right? She's tempered feminine and masculine energy inside of herself and balanced out. Your guardian angel is here to support you in faith, divine feminine. Just keep that faith. Your side of the spread, say magnifique. Honestly, both spreads were really great today. Have faith in that. You are both really doing well. You are also being supported in your retreat. Divine feminine has taken a step back. She has put down the responsibility of initiating communication, and she is awaiting reciprocation. And the divine is helping you. Your guardian angels are literally going to support you in maintaining this retreat energy. Continue to retreat and take care of yourself. Go on a retreat, go on a vacation from listening to readings or whatever it is that is just going to help you focus on that Ace of Cups and your Queen of Pentacles energy. You're being supported in that. Divine masculine got surrendered to the divine, and you got when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. So your side of the spread looks good. Surrender even more control. Retreat even more. Oneness, my true nature. 1:15:22 and 9:11 a.m. Wow. Oneness is nature. So, divine feminine, you understand that. And that is why we're seeing that this is your overall energy. Oneness is your true nature. And when that is understood, it can be reflected back to you in the outside world. Transformation in reverse, massive transformation going on. There could be some resistance to it, just like that divine masculine energy with that Six of Swords in reverse, a reflection of the difficulty in fully transforming. That ego death we talked about a couple of days ago, where the part of yourself that is protecting yourself from your fears and anxieties, you're having to transform it and you're feeling afraid about that feeling of transformation. But you're being supported during this process, so don't be afraid. You're very close to achieving your goal. And this was emphasized. It was in its reverse. It's like, you are so close. You are right at the point where you want to give up, but don't give up. Fall back right now on the Sisterhood of the Rose. This is beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, and teacher. So be in that high priestess energy. Draw strength from the feminines that are around you, communicate with them, and just be devoted to like the beauty of life itself and the oneness of your own nature, and focus on teaching others these lessons that you've been learning. That will help transform you. All right, the union as a whole. These are the cards that you share. You are both in the light attributes of the engineer, so you are no longer relying on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences, which is a real bitch. You now have the ability to give creative energy a practical expression, and you have a talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. So you're in the light attributes of the headspace. You are not over machinating. You are really using your intellect to bring that creative energy that you're feeling into the physical world, and doing it despite all of the obstacles that keep coming up. You're really able to do this work without being detached and without worrying about the consequences on others' emotions and your own emotions. Your guardian angel is here to support you in this learning experience. And you both have that resistance to that Six of Wands transformative energy of learning your lessons. So this the support is very beneficial. Learning experiences can be difficult, but there's a dove here. There's like peace that's being offered to you. As you learn this lesson, your reward is this peace. When I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world I see. So just keep this faith. I am really at this point. I really feel that in my personal journey. When I see that, I feel like there were times when I see these cards and they would make me feel annoyed, and now I just feel peace. I think that that learning experience is really present for me. I don't need external manifestations to confirm my what I know through like how do I want to say it? through, like, I guess just I just don't have to see physical manifestations to understand. And I think that for me, this no longer needing to initiate communication is about that. It was like I needed confirmation. I was like, you know what? I fucking know what it is. I know what it is. And I'm not going to keep asking anymore. I'm just going to be like, you know what? I do know what's happening. And I'm just going to lean on my certainty about it and my faith about it and not try to get confirmation anymore, because that is only about my insecurity, not about my security and faith. So when you lean on that, the whole world that you're looking at changes. I like before I kept looking and I was being afraid. I was like, what does this mean? Oh, is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen? And now I'm just like, bitch, I'm not afraid. There's nothing that could happen to me. Not a single thing that I couldn't handle. I have proven that to myself. God doesn't give you things you can't handle. Period. Dreams. This is probably about being connected in the dream space in the 5D. It can be about sharing dreams, actually sharing dreams, and it can be about sharing a dream of coming together. But it's a positive energy. I feel like you might be having dream visitations. Honestly, sexual exchanges could be taking place in that dream space. But the things that have been hidden or not coming to light, I feel like you're learning that information in that dream space, in that 5D energy, and it is helping you. Expect powerful change, the two of you, because that is what is taking place right now. The divine is creating these shifts in the energy that will help you to come together and change from the state that you've been in. And then take a break, the both of you. Life's a work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. So, the two of you that have been engaging in the same behavior but not moving anywhere, just staying in the same place, doing the same thing but not moving anywhere, take a break from that behavior. Divine Feminine's out. So it looks like she's like, I'm good, bro. Have a sweet life. Like, have a sweet life. Like, call me if you want me. I'll be there for it. Deuces. All right. So let's close with just some general energy. What am I saying? Not general energy. I guess it is. Like the general minor things that we could do today, because we looked at all the big spiritual things that we need to do. What are just some minor things that we... trying to get all these cards out of here, that we could focus on today that will help us come into this alignment. All right. Thank you for being here today. Please click on that box below if you want to check out different ways to connect with me and support me. There's an exciting challenge right now. If you can think up a song that reminds you of the Wheel of Fortune, and it literally can be any song that you like, that references the themes of that card. There is a story, and there's going to continue to be stories for this week up until Friday, that will ask you what song you think embodies that card. Put the song in there, and you'll be entered into a playlist. And then when I shuffle the playlist, if your song comes up, I shall reward you with a free reading and a free cover song of your choice, fully produced, mixed, and mastered. Because this is in celebration of my single, It's Me, Babe, which is going to be released on July 30th. And so I'm running that playlist challenge. So go over to Instagram, click on my stories, answer the question, and you can win a free reading. You literally can choose any one of the services off of my Tuned In Tarot booking page, and I will gift you that for free. And this will happen 2 times. There'll be a drawing this Friday, and there will be a drawing on the 30th. All right, let's take a look at the Divine Masculine, the things that you can do right now that will help you come into alignment today. Okay, we are getting, oops, this came like this. We are getting date in reverse, which says meeting someone new, dating, getting back out there, planning or setting a date. And then we are getting addiction in reverse, which says codependent obsession, possession, controlling, has a block or restraint. We are getting from the Lenormand deck the House card or the Ace of Cups, actually, which is interesting. I'm sorry, yeah, that would be the Ace of, or the King of Cups, maybe. Maybe that's supposed to be the King of Cups. I don't know. And then we are getting the Fox or the Nine of Wands. So, what do you do today? Well, I think Divine Masculine, you might have this addiction to like putting yourself out there, trying to meet someone new, trying to distract yourself. You might be dating others. And it's like not really serious, but it's something that you have been using, I think, to try to make yourself feel better. There might be sex addiction here, but there's a need to release this addictive energy of like, I don't know, maybe there's like a dating app stuff that's going on, or like communicating with other energies or something like that. I'm also seeing that there's a codependent or obsessed energy that you need to release. Maybe you are thinking a lot about this date, planning a date or setting a date with the divine feminine energy, and it's become like this obsession of like making this happen. And you're getting then this house energy and this Fox card. This can be about work and home, about strategizing at home. This is also about being alone and isolated, healing. And then of course if this is King of Cups energy, then we're looking at being in command of your emotions, etc. So I think that you're just supposed to really focus right now on honestly your home and your work, and stop fucking around, like either literally or figuratively, just kind of like fantasizing about actually, like obsessively fantasizing about actually going on this date or whatever, and not actually doing it. So for today, like release this energy. Either stop philandering if that's what it is, or stop just thinking constantly about like, how am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? Like surrender all of that and just focus on your home and your work today. That's your advice. All right, Divine Feminine, you are getting Heart with a Key, welcoming love, meeting the one, open your heart, getting together, and perfect. Then you are getting Paradise in reverse, which says happiness, expansion, joy, playfulness, oneness, and enjoying each other. You are getting Child, and you are getting a Letter. This is also the Page of Swords energy and the Seven of Swords energy. Okay, so for Divine Feminine, I am seeing you today. It's saying open your heart, and it's like the key to your heart, the key to opening your heart is to release your fears and anxieties that you are not going to experience happiness and joy and get to experience this counterpart. There's fear and anxiety about that. The fear of intimacy thing came up, the fear of the union actually happening, which of course keeps it from happening. But I think there's also here the divine is telling you to stop thinking that your key to joy and expansion is getting together with someone, is to really understand that getting together with this iteration that you want to get together with, because it's not going to bring you joy. Joy doesn't come from getting together. Getting together comes from joy. So go deep into your joy and what makes you happy, playfulness, enjoying each other. Now, this is also interesting because child for me personally, this is, I'm going to enjoy being the time that I have with my son right now and really be in that joy, which has been very joyful. We watched The Exorcist yesterday, which he wanted to watch. I still am traumatized by that movie, although it really was less scary this time, but scared the shit out of me. I think I watched it when I was his age. And then he wanted to watch Labyrinth after that. I was like, The Exorcist and then Labyrinth, which honestly was kind of like my whole day wrapped into one yesterday. We had a lot of fun. And so it's also about your inner child. So playfulness. I think there's been a part of you that's been so obsessed with like having this, look at that, sexy times, having that key, get into that heart kind of a thing, having physical union, that you've forgotten to be playful and just really enjoy yourself and be curious about what constitutes your joy and expansion, because we know that it's not just coming into union that makes you happy. There's all these other elements and layers. And then this energy of the letter. This to me is really about, well, this says this surprise letter from a place remote brings good news from a friend who wrote. If the words portend a stormy sky, sadness will soon much intensify. So I think Divine Feminine, it really, it's like the universe is saying, if you can stop thinking that this meeting the one and getting together with someone is what constitutes your joy and expansion, and really be more curious about what makes you happy and about what pleases you, and start focusing on that, this letter that you're waiting for, this information that you're waiting for, the divine masculine has been withholding, we saw that in his side of the reading, then it will finally be able to come through to you. And then finally, the bottom of the deck for both of you, we're getting the Phoenix in reverse, which is so interesting because we saw a Phoenix in reverse today already. And we are getting lilies from Lenormand. And the Phoenix in reverse says, new phase, rekindle, renew, transformation, growth, and changed mind. And Lily says, lilies are white, green leaves surround, the outlook is bright, and passion will abound. When this card rests higher, it means good disposition. The card resting lower is a dubious position. Okay, so if you can hang on, your fears about this transformation, the outlook is bright if you can stop resisting transforming your energy. Embrace this transformation, grow, change your mind, allow your mind to change as you open up to new possibilities. This Lily's energy is something that really, it's pure and it's been there for a long time. There is like a nostalgia associated with this. So it's like, have faith in the rekindling of this because it is pure and it is from the past, like it's from your past. All right. That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I shall be here again on Wednesday for Obstacles Removed. Possibly. this is a studio week, and both of my studio days are on Wednesday and Friday. So my schedule might shuffle a little bit, but I do intend to do a reading on Wednesday and Friday morning. So I'll try to stick to that, but just flow with me because I have a busy week this week. On Sunday, I will be with Grace Draga on Instagram again. Please follow me on TikTok, on Instagram, here on YouTube. Subscribe and share. That really helps my channel grow. If you want to support me, pearlsprayers.com. There's a support button if you just feel like sending a donation for these free readings I do for you, and I do appreciate all the help I get. Thank you to all of my current subscribers and everybody who comes and joins me. I do appreciate it. I'm called to do this to help others, so when I see others benefit from it, it makes me feel really happy. Thank you so much. I will see you again on Wednesday, and have a glorious day today.